Stop streaming. I don't know where I am. End stream. I am actually online. Am I there? I am there. Oh, God. You know, one day, this is going to sort of kill me to do... Oh, God. All right, so how about now? Welcome to live chat. I think this has gone onto a different stream. It is most frustrating, this. So, what can I do? What can I do? Privacy is public. Monetization on. Ads. Here I am. Anybody who is here now. Here I am. Very blue in the background, isn't it? Why is it so blue in the background? Okay, so I'm going to start recording. Why is it so blue in the background? And why can I not see the start streaming live video settings to see whether I can get some chat up here? Okay, go live. I am live. Go live. I wonder, is this just going to mess everything up for me? Okay, how about now? Apparently, according to the stats on YouTube, there is one person watching. So I would be very, very grateful if you just put something in the chat. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything. It's just to see that there's an actual live stream happening. So, can't see anything there. And once again, I'm going to have to keep flitting back and forth between Chrome and OBS to make this work. I know it's the usual preamble of me complaining about what I'm doing. Ivor! Oh, thanks be to God you're there. That means that this is actually streaming. And you're saying, hi guys, I'm not sure if anyone else is there now. I don't know how this works. It's mental. Right, okay. So I may as well. I'm recording this, so I shouldn't keep going. I may as well tell you about this week. This week was the last week of my my 6-week term. So we're starting again next week in Harold's Cross, but it's a 5-week term. It's going to occupy the whole of June. And then after that, I'll be doing pay-as-you-go classes, and you can find links to the booking. Eventually, it's not there yet, but you'll find the links in a couple of weeks, which will leave you 3 weeks to book which days you want. Just through the summer, I'm doing these pay-as-you-go classes because it's just too difficult to get people together in one place for 6 weeks. So that will be sort of, I think, 4 weeks in July, maybe the 5th one in August, something like that anyway. But you'll see. Yes, so obviously that is working. What else? All week we were painting a landscape, which is kind of the 6th element in my 6-week program. So it starts out as a single object, maybe a lemon or an apple or something like that. Then it goes to glass, clear glass, and then it goes to silver, then it goes to a white object, then it goes to flowers, and then it goes to painting a landscape. So it's really just the landscape is the culmination of trying to add everything that you've learned in the 6 weeks or in the 5 previous weeks into the 6th week. So that's what I did during the week. Let me get that out of there. And over here, it's on and it's working okay. Thank you very much. Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, it's good that you've got the evening off, isn't it? So I'll tell you what I'm going to paint is where are we doing with the film? Okay, so this, in fact, this scene is Connemara, because I was there a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weekends ago, and it's near Letterfrack and it's overlooking the fjord at Killary. They call it the Killary Fjord. You often hear about Killary Harbour, which is the village, but this is maybe a mile or two away from that, down towards the sea. It's an absolutely beautiful place, and we went there en famille, and my father-in-law's French, and so there were a few of us, and we went down, and they show you the lambs, and you can sort of pet the lambs, and then they show you how a sheepdog operates. It was great. It was good fun, well worth the money, and I recommend you go there. And the valley that you go into, because you're up in the hills, and then you sort of descend into this valley, which I suppose is the Killary Valley, and the climate changed. It kind of got warmer, which was interesting. And opposite there, on the opposite bank, is Mayo. Okay, and the geology is different apparently. Yes. So that's enough about the actual place. The purpose of painting this is because, I mean, Ireland, the west of Ireland especially, is an extremely beautiful place, well worth visiting. But often in photographs it comes out quite dull. There's a lot of greenery and everything, and maybe cameras, especially phone cameras, don't pick up all the nuances, and you can't really adjust them very easily, or at least I can't anyway. And besides, pictures, photographs always kind of haul you off in this direction of trying to mimic them, to copy them. And I don't think that's a good way of approaching your artwork, because you don't really learn enough from doing that, because the scene never changes in a photograph. The clouds don't move. The lighting doesn't change. You can't feel the wind. You can't sort of feel the sun on your face, or the rain possibly in this situation. So I think it's always best to paint as if you're a child in this circumstance, and I think that's what the post-impressionists did. Van Gogh and Gauguin, for example. Many more of them did that. If you look at a child, with a box of crayons in front of him or her, and a blank sheet of paper, they don't sort of start worrying about the veracity of their image. They'll choose their favourite colours out of the box and just start painting. And I think somehow we've got to get back to that way of thinking, and be very definite about it. So that's what I'm going to paint, and I'll just move on to the palette. Okay, so there we go. There's my palette. There's the colours that I'm going to use. I'm using Griffin Alkids. I really like them, I have to say. I do very much like Griffin Alkids, because they've liquid in them, and they by the end of a painting session, they've already started to sort of just to set just a little bit, and I find that it gets easier to paint as you go on, whereas oils, sort of true oils, it's easier to end up in a mud fest, I think, with them. I like these Griffin Alkids. They're the brushes I'm going to paint with. There's my solvent, and I'm going to lay out my paint first. Okay, so usual, I always put my paint out in the same place, same order. So there's some white there, titanium white, cadmium yellow pale hue, let me put that over there, permanent rose. I've got to get some more of that this weekend. I'm starting to run out here. Need a trip to the art shop. There's some red there that'll do. Maybe give myself a little bit more. Followed by blue, cobalt blue. Put them there at hand so I can get them if I need them. That's just another cobalt blue there. I'm not going to put any black on my palette this time. I don't think I need it. I didn't need it during the week, and I'm not going to need it now. I am going to put some dioxazine purple, just in case I need it. Not very much, but it might do me. do something for my painting, okay? And burnt sienna, my go-to earth colour for the wash and for drawing. Let's open that up. What else do I need? Oh yes, the substrate, the support. Okay, so there it is. It's a linen board, same as I think I used last week, wasn't it? Let me just check your. Yeah, okay. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, even though there's it's not a white canvas, even though it's not, I'm just going to put down a pink, because I want to get away from that photograph. I want to have every opportunity to not be hauled down kicking and screaming behind that that photograph. I'll use a larger brush actually. The other thing I don't have actually is a rag. I'm going to have to get myself a rag. So this is pure permanent rose with solvent. Or it could have been an orange. You know, an orange works well as well. You could use the burnt sienna as well. That is a nice warm red. But I'm sort of playing. I'm experimenting here. So let me put that to one side. That's got to go there. I do need a rag. Just bear with me for a second while I look through my. Do me for a rag. Well, that's just a paper towel, really. Don't drop that. I can't see another rag. This will do me. This will do me for the moment. And let's go back to the canvas. And I'm going to tamp that down because I don't want it to. I don't want it to be too sopping wet when I start painting. Okay, so there we have it. So, hang on, just wait while I do this. I'm going to put that up there. Oh no, not it. So, I'm going to start out with a drawing. Actually, you will have to just bear with me there for a second, Ivor, because I want to kind of get something that I do need. Put my microphone back on. Okay, now I have a rag, proper rag. Right, put that there. So I'm shifting things around on my desk. Right, I'm going to do a bit of a drawing, okay? I think I'll do it in burnt sienna. Do you know what? Something I might do just while we're waiting here. I might in here canvas. Allow me to just put in video capture device, existing palette. Okay. Canvas main. Where is it? No, it's not working. So, okay. Right, so I'm going to have to draw. You can't see the palette, so I'll just have to sort of describe it to you while I'm doing it. So, halfway, and then I've got the wall, which is, I'm going to have it coming up there like that, down. I'm going to change that a bit because I don't want it to be like the photograph, and I want to make more of the fact that there is a dry stone wall there, and that there is the road, and then we've got the mountains up the top there. And once again, you've got to imagine that you're actually there. I'm going to come down. Move that there, more like that, yeah. Up again, up, and then mountains in the distance, okay. And then we've got the darks of that stand of trees there, coming up there like that. And then we've got these dry stone walls coming down there. This is where the sheepdogs were doing their work. It's magnificent to watch. Yes, Miles. Yes. Okay, I see it. Now, we've got this body of water here, which is below here. I'm going to put that there. Something like that. And then around there. And then bounded by the wall. And all that is green fields divided up into their little fields there. And then there's some trees there. So we have to channel our inner 5-year-old. Going to come down there like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put in the darks. Let's use some so I'm going to paint that there. Just block out that. Remember, it's still an alla prima painting, even though it's sort of more complex than a still life, I suppose. That you're going to try and get the painting in, as close to the same time as you possibly can. So I wanted to make that wall slightly more interesting in the sense that it was kind of curved up, a little bit buckety. Now, other darks include this stand of trees. Okay. Maybe like that. And then we've got that distant one over here. I'm going to wipe down that line there because I didn't want that to be quite like that. So we're going to do the green fields. So some green fields coming up, and green areas. Here's one. Here. And every painting, I was talking to my crowd earlier on, every painting has to have a concept. And the concept can be, we're not talking about sort of the meaning of life or anything. All we want is, how are you going to do the painting? What are you going to apply to this this piece of material that you have to make it into what you want it to be. And it could be anything. It could be, I'm going to paint this thing in a low chroma way, you know, so it's kind of lots of greys, or I'm going to paint it in very bright colours, or I'm going to paint it in with a palette knife, or I'm going to paint it in just 2 colours and white, or what else it could be. I'm going to paint it all in little points like pointillism, or all my strokes are going to be vertical, and that's more or less what I'm going to do. So is that vertical one. I like it. So more green along there. Right. Yeah, I have to keep sort of switching to see what if you've put any comments. Let me just see, is that my elements? No. Okay. All right. So we've got the body of water is going to reflect this. So whatever I put here is going to reappear here. Okay, so I'm not going to bother with that just yet. So I'm going to add some. Let's make some distant hills. Okay, so here like that. That's very close to the actual the true colour there. So never mind, we can always mess around with that later. And remember, you're standing out in this environment, and the weather might always be as clement as it was when we were here. So you could be rained on. Okay, so sky, nice blue sky. Let's see what we can mix up for a nice blue sky. White, yellow, blue. Yeah, so we'll put the sky in a kind of a green. Now it is picking up some of that pink below it, but I'm not going to dwell on my strokes. I'm not going to start worrying the strokes. So, and I want some of the pink to come through. Just make sure I make up enough. Getting away from that photograph. Make sure I don't sort of tip the canvas off the easel. All right, so now I've got some sky. I can reflect it down there. So that's in there. I forgot a little bit of the green here. I think the aim is to be that kind of Gauguin sort of look, or perhaps even, you know, one of the naive painters, Rousseau, wasn't it? He was one of the naive painters. So he's kind of like post-impressionism, I suppose. Right, so I've got that more or less blocked in. I do want something for that road. I don't want it to be that kind of bluish colour either. So let's put this down here. And at least it'll have some paint on it there. Okay, that we can paint into later. Next thing is I'm going to start putting in some of the stones in that dry stone wall. Let's mix up colour, a slight purplish, but lighter than the purpley colour that I've got there. Okay, I'll put some stones in, build a wall. You know, you're kind of doing it like a dry stone wall builder might do it, you know, choosing your strokes carefully and putting them in. It's a bit random. The idea is that it's random. And through there, like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to start changing things up a bit. So I'm going to make a green. I am actually making a green this time. So to paint into some of this red. I'm really just feeling my way forward at the moment, because it's not, you know, I'm not doing this in a naturalistic way. So I'm being slightly, I'm not, it may look that I'm painting fast and freely, but I really am sort of paying attention to what I'm doing. Because if it hadn't sort of, if I hadn't liked what I put down, I would have stopped doing it. Okay, so we're getting this kind of grass effect down here. And here. Here I'm going to make it slightly sort of darker. Add a bit of blue and red into that. I mean, the same things apply to this painting as they do to other paintings. For example, the how would you call it, the atmospheric perspective, that still needs to be there, I think. That means, you know, there's a huge body of air between us and those hills, and so they become paler. So to send them into the background, you make them paler. Okay. So those trees beyond can be cool, a cool sort of green. Put them on top of that there. And it's the hard thing to do is the importance that the painting should be yours. And if you're painting from a photograph, very often it's a frustrating experience, because the painting might not seem as if it's entirely yours. But to do it this way, this naive sort of style, I think it helps. It helps remove that photograph from the issue. Right, what else can I do? So let me grab a greenish colour, maybe a greenish grey even slightly. And that can go into the wall too. We want the wall to be multicoloured, really. Okay. And now I am actually going to go in with a dark before I sort of go too far down the light road with that wall. And I'm going to put in some darks, because there are dark spaces in that wall, because it's not mortared. You can see right through it in places. So the light there's the least amount of light in between those rocks. And it's just a suggestion that there are rocks there. Okay. What shall I do next? I'll do something with that hill, because there's a shadowed side. Over here. I might lighten that later, but and even down here, I've got cameras in front of my face. It's really hard to actually see some things sometimes. There, running across almost at the crown of that hill. Okay, sky again. Some more white. I'm going to make it more blue this time. I like multicoloured skies. I'm not going to go everywhere with this, but I'm starting to build it up. I'll try and judiciously leave in some of the pink, but not too much, just so that you know it's there. Whoops, beg your pardon. I still can sort of shape some of these hills. That's complete sky down there. This kind of takes the chore out of painting, to approach it with a completely different mindset. And I always like to have my brushwork be seen. So I'm not flattening any of the strokes where there's quite a lot of paint on them. I mean, it might happen that they're flattened by a stroke that occurs over it or near it, but it's not my intention. My intention is for my strokes to be seen. And I do, of course, want some of that to appear down here. Okay, so now I'm going to work on some of the darks around the fields again. So, for example, here. Let's see some darks in there. And as usual, the blocks are taking up, they're doing all the hard work, the heavy lifting in the painting. Because all I'm doing is painting small amounts of paint into those blocks now. Put some more around that. I just feel like I could do with a bit more variation. Okay, what will I do now? I'm going to go back into those fields again. So make a warm green, so yellow, blue, and a bit of red. Allowing the red to peep through, the red underneath, and the pink even in some places. And down here too. Make sure I reach down to the bottom of the canvas. Add some more yellow and make it a much yellower colour as it comes towards us. And I'm doing most of these sort of vertical strokes at the moment. Slightly redder green in the fields there. I've got to do something about here, which is actually really quite red actually, so I'm going to add bits of green but leave most of it. I'm not really after accuracy. I'm not after you saying, or somebody saying that, oh, where's the hut that's in that field, or something like that. All we're doing is playing. There's a shadow down there, dark. Down here. Okay, back to those walls again. I should say the ones that are in the fields, really. There's one that comes down there like that. There's a dark in there, which is a reflection, I think. Okay. To that road, I'm going to make that bright. Now, I'm actually doing lateral strokes here, of course, but it seems to invite that rather. And then there should be a grey in there, so I'm just going to mix some of that with the blue. I think it needs a bit of a kind of a light grey. I don't want to make it look like a modern tarmac road. I think that's the idea. Come up into here, put that in. Now I want to sort of suggest some clouds as well, so I'm going to grab some white and I'm going to use a kind of a slightly yellowish ochre mix. I can start putting in some clouds. And allow it to pick up some of the colour underneath actually, I think, because I can always go lighter then afterwards. Oh, hey, I've just switched to see what the chats were saying. So, Miles, do you always use a soft-haired brush rather than a hog hair? At this size, yes. If I was doing a large painting, you know, maybe a couple of foot across or something, I'd start using the hog hair brushes, and the natural bristle ones. But I like the synthetic ones, and I like the softness. I have to say, I do. At this size, it seems to work. Ivor. There's a question for you, in fact, that I've often wondered, that if you saw a group of my paintings together, and here's me trying to sort of paint differently, and everything, would you think it was the same artist? That's the thing. You know, does the fact that I'm painting them, the style that I seem to have, does that translate across all of them? Or would you be sort of wondering? I find it hard to you know, to explain that about my own work, I suppose. I often tell people that I'm a bit sort of you know, worried whether I confuse people or not. But so now we're starting to get a bit more shape. And so there, okay, so now back into the grass underneath the right over. You see the signature. Well, you can't say fairer than that. Yeah, the signature's there. That's the old Dublin wit coming out there. If you've got two heads, they'll tell you. Yeah. I worked with a fellow once. He was really very quick, and he used to come out with very choice phrases. And he said about one of my other co-workers. He says his name was Billy. He said that Billy hides his money under the soap, which is kind of one of the best put downs I've ever heard, because it implies that you're both miserly and in need of a wash. Okay, maybe we could put some green in that. Wouldn't do a bit of harm. So now let's go into the mountains for a walk. So I'm going to grab maybe a kind of a light violety purple colour and see if I can put in some variations of hue in these. I don't want to get too technical with the mountains. In there. They really are kind of far away. I just want to emphasize that. Then we've got a light over there. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I got back from a visit to Pompeii. Ivor, you got back from Pompeii. I'm insanely jealous. I've never been to Pompeii and I want to go. They keep finding new stuff there, and Herculaneum as well. But they discovered that roll of papyrus or something. It's gone. So, and they're scanning it through. It's all charred and everything. They've been able to take text out of it. I wish I could tell you more about it. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to put some of that in here as well. Okay, let's come down, shape those mountains a little bit more. And I don't want to have hard edges on those mountains. Okay, so we've got it's got to look a little bit Irish and hazy. Okay. Now some more details. I think some nice dark blues could do something nice in here. Pompeii is a nice place to paint. Yeah, so it would be until the sun got going. The times that I've tried to paint in Provence and I had to give up. It was just so difficult with this blazing sunshine. There, we're getting a bit more detail in that wall. Just random little lines suggesting the stone. Okay. Back to back to the grass here. I'm going to come lighter again. Okay, and some more variation in that field there. And in here. I want some lighter variations in those trees. These are all kind of vertical strokes I'm putting in at the moment. So. Maybe a lighter, cooler green as well. Because all you want to do is give an impression and not bang people over the head with your drawing skills and accuracy. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do now is put in a bit more red, a deep red. I can delineate some of these parts here. Even in that wall, looks nice. I like that. So multicoloured everything. Let's go back into the hills. Push them up there a little bit. And that's supposed to be hills there. Clouds again. Now, I love looking at Paul Henry's clouds. They're monumental. I'm sure you know the artist Paul Henry, an American who painted over here in the 19th century. Monumental clouds, beautiful. got some greenish clouds. So make it very, very light green, put that in. There we go. I really do want some dark, so I'm going to grab some of that dioxazine purple, some red, some burnt sienna as well. That'll make a nice dark. We're pushing towards the final parts of this. Down here. Some darks in there, make more of that wall. There's little dabs here and there. And I do want to put in some darks to bring this wall more into sharp relief. Let me make some more of that. There. Okay. And some light parts to that wall. You need some lights. So this is dioxazine purple and white. And when they were talking about the geology of the two sides of the fjord being different, yet these aren't. These are much darker kind of rock than I would have expected. Certainly not limestone. Anyway, it doesn't seem to be. I'm sure on the Mayo side, yeah, they'd have different. Maybe it's granite on one side and limestone on the other. And I just want to sort of end this by putting in some delineation in red around the hills. Just because it suits the painting, I think. There. I do want to bring some of that sky down there. Maybe the last thing would be, let's do this, since it was the case. There's a few sheep in that field. Maybe we'll put 1 or 2 there. Okay. Are you still awake? Did I put you to sleep? So let me grab this down from here. And if the recording is any good on the on my computer, I'll re-edit this into a kind of a shorter video with a decent photograph of this. It's very hard to actually get a good shot of this with these cameras. You know, there wouldn't be the high-end kind of cameras that you'd need to take photographs of paintings. So what have you to say for yourselves? Anything? Anything that you would have thought you would have done, or I should have done, or anything like that? Anything, anybody? So let's have a look. Emmanuel. Yes, thank you very much for that. That's a very nice thing for you to say. Well, from everybody, thank you. So the thing is, like, I mean, the point is to get away from the photograph. I had let me see, I had that sort of beside me, and it really is quite a dull photograph. And I had to have that piece of paper because I couldn't see the screen. And the sooner in a painting, I think, that you can get away from looking at it, the better. And Varish kind of tarnished, I think. Varish? Varish? Oh, varnish, sorry, I didn't see the comment above. I do, I like varnishing. I do, and it's not only the effect that it has on the painting, but it also protects them. That's for sure. Martin, isn't it? Yes, I'm a real seat of my pants kind of artist, and that goes to photography as well. That I took one photograph there, which is the one that I use here. But at the same time, I took a dozen others, and I choose the one that actually looks the best. So I'm not good at photography, and I rely on all the automatic presets on my cameras, even the camera that I have with the SLR camera, or whatever you call it. I don't understand them. I haven't got the brain to sort of figure out f-stops and apertures and all that kind of stuff. And I just fly by the seat of my pants and choose what's good later. And I think actually professional photographers, you know, ones who are on commercial shoots, they take hundreds of photographs because they know that most of them would be unusable and only 1 or 2 would be any good. Do I break it down into shapes? I do look for the nicest part, you know, and that's as deep as it goes. I think, oh, that looks like a lovely setting for a painting, and so I'll photograph it. And that's why it's better to be standing there with your easel and your canvas in the environment that you're going to paint. You learn so much more. You learn to identify what's best to paint. You know, and you might paint something in half an hour and you think, this is just not working, or I chose the wrong bit, or I've chosen too much and I should have cropped it in. But whatever happens, this exercise today is really about changing, getting away from the photograph, and right from the beginning. So putting on a garish pink wash, it necessarily makes you depart from the photograph. You know, and I'm painting as a kind of a live demonstration, and that puts me under pressure. So you know, I'm kind of playing, but I'm also playing at playing, because you can't really play when there's a whole bunch of people watching you, and you're doing this because you're sort of trying to impart something to them. So you're not really playing. I'm just trying to. It's an analog of playing. It kind of looks like I'm playing. I suppose in a way I am, but if I hadn't done this 3 times already this week, you know, it might have been a very different result. I'd have been even more under pressure. So that's the way it works for me. Does that answer your question? Are there any other things that you wouldn't mind hearing about? Zaviag, Martin, was privy to my shenanigans last night, because I was trying to sort of operate a different bit of software, and the whole thing went completely awry. I was doing a test broadcast with my friend who lives down the road, and I messed it up. But the whole point of that was it's software where you can bring in a guest. So I want to start bringing in guests, and I was going to try to do it this week, but I'm not quite ready for it yet, as you can see from the beginning of this live stream. So I've got to become more familiar with the software. But I'd say it'll look great when it does actually work. So I've just got to keep at it, keep banging away, and it'll be demonstrations until I can get that ready. And when I get that ready, I think it's going to be really good, because we can bring in other brains, you know, other sort of experienced painters into this, who will tell us what the kind of work that they do and how they approach their work, which is probably radically different from me. It's very interesting to see the way people work. And in the end, we're all just making marks and make them in our own way. And there is no formula. I don't like hearing about rules, you know, rules in painting, rules of composition. You know, there are guidelines, but there are a few rules, and what there are meant to be broken, you know, once you've established them in your head. So that's it, I think, for today. I'm knackered now. I haven't eaten since 2 o'clock yesterday, because I'm doing a bit of a fast. Voluntary, which is not for anything. It's just I'm just interested in the effects it's going to have. Probably me collapsing of hunger. But yes, that's it. If there's nothing more to be said, I'll leave you until next week. So all that's left to be said. Oh, well, I should do this, shouldn't I? Did that come up? No, it didn't. These are my presets. Oh, look at that. Useless. No, can't work that. Okay, listen, cheerio. Don't collapse. No, I'm very surprised, actually, at how in good form I am, sort of after what must be 28 hours of fasting. So, have a lovely week. Keep yourselves fit and well, and I'll see you the same time next week. Okay? Cheerio. Over and out.